I took these photographs of these objects that could be used as props for our opening sequence, and I got these objects. It was initially for a photography project of mine, but I didn't really use these photos or like these objects. And I eventually done my own personal video about it, which I put on my YouTube channel. But they could be used as props, both to help inspire me and my group on what props we potentially need to produce a crime thriller opening sequence. These objects can be seen to have no relevance in our opening sequence, depending on our open sequence or what like our open sequence turns out to be. But it could have a lot of relevance as well, because it sort of shows old type feel, and a lot of rust on some of the objects, and it's very old fashioned. And but also, even if it doesn't really relate to our opening sequence, it can steer away the audience from what they think it could be deliberately, which could also be really effective by then seeing something later on in the opening sequence that shows something completely different. We want the audience to feel love unknown in their mind, on what the props are and the meaning of the rest of the story towards it. And if some don't relate, as I said, it could cause confusion, and that technically isn't a bad thing. This is because it can cause surprise by the end of the opening sequence, or as I said, it can steer to something else. It could cause a lot of dramatic effect, which would be really effective and make the audience love the opening sequence we produce. I took these photos at various angles and lengths, because I want the opening sequence to have various angles and zooms to make this opening sequence really gripping and interesting, instead of being consistent on one certain technique used through cinematography, which could then be really boring in a way. So even though we want to do it on the basis of inspiration from Seven, which had a lot of close-ups, we can have a lot of close-ups, but we could start off from a further length back and zoom into a close-up, which would be really interesting. Some of these props, due to a lot of construction behind it, we could use shadows to record instead of the actual object, which can be really effective and be really interesting to an audience's eye. With the scissors, you see enough rust on it, we could use that, have a close view, which can be really interesting and be really disturbing to the audience in a way, depending on how we use it and if we use it. But overall, I think these objects could be really good to use for the opener sequence, and we'll try and, as a group, discuss what objects we feel could be the best option to use.